Well, good afternoon. Sorry, I'm looking at the audio to make sure it's receiving audio properly from this mic. So, hope you're having a great day. It is, let me double check, Tuesday, May 10th, and it is 12:29 p.m., 12:30 p.m. roughly, here in Portland, Oregon. Well, Troutdale, Oregon, to be specific. I'm at the TA truck stop in Troutdale, Oregon, still. Whenever I first started making videos and I would sit around at truck stops for like a week, people would like, the comment section had people that were just, I mean, they were a little bit rude, but they weren't too bad. Um, Basically, some people can't wrap their minds around like sitting for long periods of time, taking as a, the trucking has a stereotype that it is a really long hours, just no time off job where you're basically working 70 hours a week every week for your whole fucking life, and you get like maybe 3 days off a month. That's it. And for most people, that's what trucking is. And that's one of the reasons we have insanely high turnover in trucking. Now, if you pay somebody enough money, they'll put up with really shitty stuff. And if you pay them enough money, they'll fucking love it. Like, you can have somebody out there like diving in shit to look for, whatever, looking for phones and piles of shit. And if you pay them next to nothing, they're going to hate that job. You're going to have a lot of turnover at that job. But if you paid somebody like $200,000 a year to do that, not only would they not quit the job, they would love it. They would come to work with a smile on their face. Like they would be happy. Money, compensation has a huge impact on how much somebody likes to do something. If you don't feel adequately compensated to do something, you're going to hate it. I mean, I don't care what it is that you're getting paid to do. If you're barely getting paid enough to do it, you're not going to be happy at it. Digging ditches, it doesn't matter. If you pay somebody like $8 an hour to dig ditches, they're not going to like it. You pay somebody $15 an hour to dig ditches, they're probably still not going to like it because it's a pain in the ass job. But the higher the wage gets up there, you start paying somebody like $500 an hour to dig ditches, and they're going to be digging with a smile on their face, knowing how much money they're making. Like they're getting adequately compensated for how shitty the job is. But anyway, that trucking. This video is not intended to be. I just have a really hard time with digressing off into topics every time something comes up. But trucking has a lot of issues, and there are a lot of stereotypes about trucking, and a lot of stereotypes about trucking are very, very true. Most people do work 70 hours a week and have almost no time off. That is not my situation. Whenever I came into trucking, I came in with a plan. I've done this before. This isn't my first rodeo. I got my CDL back in like 2003, 2004, and I drove for 2 or 3 years and said, this shit ain't for me. And the entire time that I was, driving back then, I was one of those people that was working like 60, 70 hours a week and had almost no time off. And I did not make anywhere near enough money. I was still living paycheck to paycheck. So when I got into trucking this time, because I really like the job itself, it's just that the hours and the pay just didn't like there's a formula to happiness, and the amount of free time you have to do what you want, how shitty the job is, and how many hours you work, how many free hours you have to do what you want. There's like a formula for happiness. And so I tried to figure out a way this time whenever I got into trucking to fix that formula to where my pay was high enough, my time off was high. If you make enough money, you can take time off if you have control over your hours. So I wanted the control over my hours. I wanted to be in a position where my revenue was insanely high so that I didn't have to work very much. I could go out and work for like 1 week and take a month off. And that's the situation that I'm in. So all of that is to, for the people out there, which I don't have it happen very often anymore in my videos. But early on when I started making videos and I talk about like sitting at the truck stop for a month, because I think that's the longest I've ever sat at a truck stop was in Tonopah, Arizona. I sat there for a month. December of, was it 2020? Yeah, it was my first year as an owner-operator when I was with USA Truck. December of 2020, I sat for the entire month at the TA truck stop in Tonopah, Arizona. And I had a blast. Like, I just, I'm set up in the truck to where it's very comfortable. And something that I've been thinking about is living full time in the truck. And that's a whole video by itself. There's some things that I'm trying to work out, some inconveniences with the truck. Like, usually I don't do Amazon deliveries until I get home. I come up with this huge list of shit that I want to buy whenever I get home. So whenever I get home, as soon as like I'm on my way home, I know when I'm going to be there, I start like hitting the order button on Amazon and I get deliveries the whole time I'm there. So I'd have to figure out some way to get Amazon deliveries out over the road. And Amazon has these lockers. I actually had a delivery, a same day delivery for capacitors. Let me grab it. Let me grab it real quick. It's right here. Oh, is this going to take forever? It's not where I thought. Oh, yeah, there it is. I was like, it should be right there. So, I got an Amazon same day delivery. Let me not show you the other side, but this little bag right here of 2 capacitors. One of them is installed on the APU. And this is a spare that I bought. These things were like $13 a piece. And this is the capacitor that the APU uses. My APU, a Carrier Comfort Pro, I can't remember the exact model number of it. Most of the Comfort Pros, especially the newer ones, use 25 MFD capacitors. But the one that I have uses a much bigger. I have 225 MFDs because that's what it said online that I needed. But that's when I went to change out the capacitor. I was like, this is way bigger than the one I got. And I started looking at the specifications, and mine has a 40 MFD, 440 volt capacitor, run capacitor. These are not start capacitors. These are run capacitors. And for anybody who's wondering, there are no markings on the terminals. These capacitors are not like positive, negative. The connections, I have 2 connections. They can go to either terminal. It doesn't matter. You might run into issues if you plug them both into the same terminal. I'm not sure about that, but it doesn't matter which terminal they go to. But anyway, I went over to the Carrier dealer here in town, and they were confused. Like, some of the dealers, like, I know more about the APUs than they do. There were a bunch of dumbasses at the dealership here in Troutdale, and they kept saying, man, I wish so-and-so still worked here. He was our APU guy. But there were like 4 people, and like they couldn't tell me for sure which, like, they had no idea what a 40 MFD capacitor was. All they had were 25s, and they said that they didn't even have any in stock. Like, there was a whole bunch of drama there. I was there for like 2 hours. They actually ended up having capacitors in stock. There was somebody that knew what was going on that finally took a look at the situation, and he went back there and found a box of capacitors, and they were this capacitor, not the 25 MFD. They were 40 MFD capacitors like this one, but they had a cap, a plastic cap on them. And I was like, you know what? That looked like it'd be a pain in the ass to wire up, because it had a plastic cap on it, and they had 2 wires coming up. Thinking on it now, I could have used some butt connectors and just hooked those wires into my existing wires. That probably would have worked out better. But anyway, I don't know how much they would have charged for that. Probably like $100 or something. But these are $13 on Amazon. So I bought an extra because these damn capacitors go out all the time. I have to replace these capacitors probably every 3 months, 3 to 6 months. Probably closer to every 3 months that I have to swap out a capacitor. Alternator fan belts, I have to tighten those all the time. I replace them all the time. I have 3 spare alternator fan belts in the truck right now because I'm getting sick and tired of my APU going out, and I have to start running the engine until I can make it to Oklahoma City to have the shop that I would deal with work on the APU to get back up and running, because I don't trust these sons of bitches. These are a bunch of dumbasses out here, out over the road. I have an understanding of the competence level of the mechanic that I deal with. These people out here, I have no idea where their competence is at. And like the dumbasses I just talked with, one of them was a mechanic, and he was just like, God, I would not have wanted him working on my APU. It could cost you thousands of dollars, and they could not only not fix the problem, they could break other shit while they're in there if you have some dumbass mechanic working on your APU. And I've had that happen to me several times where I pay them like $500 to $1,000 to fix a problem. They don't fix the problem, and then I have new problems. So yeah, I'm very particular about who I let touch my APU these days. And I've learned how to do a lot of this kind of stuff on my own. It's really easy once you figure out how to do it. It's just a matter of, it's kind of a pain in the ass to do it, especially with where my APU is mounted at. My APU is hidden away. It's nice whenever you don't need to do anything with it, but whenever you need to work on it, it's a pain in the ass to get to, and it's in a really tight spot. And that's the main thing that makes it really difficult to do anything on my APU. But now if a belt needs to be replaced, I replace it. If a belt needs to be tightened, I tighten it. If a capacitor needs to be replaced, I replace it. Those are, some basic things that I'll do myself now. And then, I've had my APU break down on me like 3 times since I've been out over the road. It's all been capacitor related. But whenever I get back home, I'm going to pay my mechanic to run new wires to the capacitor, because I just think that the wires running to the capacitor are the problem, because they keep like turning to charcoal, and I have to keep cutting them back, putting on a new connector, and then like a week later or 3 or 4 days later or whatever, the generator will stop functioning. I'll go back out there and check, and it will have like turned to charcoal and snapped off. And I'll have to cut it back, put a new end cap on it, plug it in, everything works great. So I'm going to have to pay my mechanic to rerun wires for me. I would do it myself, but it looks like a bit of a pain in the ass to connect the wires to the generator. And I don't want to just splice to the existing wires. I want to completely replace the old wiring. And I want to go with 8 gauge. 10 gauge should be good enough, but I want to go with 8 gauge, full copper, just to, why not? We're doing it anyway. Let's do it the best way. So anyway, I wasn't planning on talking about any of that stuff, but we'll get to what I was planning on talking to in a minute. I'm going to, talk about my next load, but I have been thinking a lot about living full-time in the truck, selling my house, selling my car. And these are not, like, a lot of people, whenever they own a home, the big reason that they cannot get out from underneath a house or a car is because they're upside down. I don't have that problem. I'm right side up I would make a huge profit on my house and my car by selling them. But my house, I bought it real cheap. And I got it cheap because the previous owners are the type of people that should never own a home. They lived in the house. They bought it brand new. They lived in it for like 40 years, and they never maintained the house. They kept the exterior of the house looking good, but like, how to explain this? There are two things. What I've found in my experience in life is that there are two things: form and function. And some people are focused on form, and some people are focused on function. Rarely do you have somebody that's equally, focused on both of them. Me personally, I'm a function person. And most everybody I know is form. They care more about how something looks than how it works. I don't really give a shit how something looks. Like, I do care about how something looks, but how it functions matters a lot more to me. And the house, the people who live there, they didn't care at all about function. There was a lot of leaking pipes in the plumbing, a lot of electrical issues, just tons and tons of like functional issues with the house. The roof was leaking. They went cheap on getting their roof replaced the last time they had to get it replaced, and they shingled a flat roof. And it had been leaking for like 10 years, and they just didn't do anything about it because they were so fucking poor. Like, they couldn't afford the house. Like, they could... That's something that the last job that I was at, and it's not just, at a job, but you hear this shit all the time. And mainly the place that I hear it is at work. People that are looking to buy houses. And they're like, I'm already paying, $600 a month or $1,000 a month for rent, and the bank won't approve me for a loan that's only going to be $500 a month. Well, what these idiots don't understand, and the bank does, is that the loan amount that you're paying for the mortgage is usually only about half of what your mortgage payment is. So, they're paying $1,000 a month rent. They're trying to get a mortgage for $500 and they can't get approved. Well, the mortgage may be $500, but then you have insurance, property taxes, and all kinds of other shit that severely increases your monthly payment. So you're going to end up paying like $1,000 a month, the same that you're paying for rent. And then on top of that, the biggest thing that new homeowners do not take into like consideration in their calculation is, sorry, there's somebody backing up in front of me, is maintenance and upkeep on the house. I pay probably more in maintenance and upkeep than I do on my monthly mortgage payment. So, these are people that got a house they should not have been approved for, and they were too poor to pay for the maintenance and upkeep for 40 fucking years. So if you can imagine the condition of the house when I bought it, I had to spend about $25,000 in the first couple of months just to get the house livable, like replacing the flat roof to where the roof didn't leak anymore, replacing a bunch of plumbing so I didn't have, those leaks, replacing a bunch of electrical, getting hot water in the house, getting a functional restroom. There were 12 fucking people living in the house whenever I bought it, and none of the restrooms worked properly. Like, if you turn the faucets on in the two upstairs restrooms, they leaked really bad, and water would pour out of the leaks down into the first floor. So I don't know if they were just letting the water run everywhere, and they were going ahead and using the upstairs showers. Oh my goodness. The downstairs leaked every time you used it. The master bathroom was the only one that was partially functional, and somebody had like hit the tile in the bathroom wall, and like half the tile was missing from the wall. And I think that they just said screw it and just kept using the shower without anything covering the drywall. I was like, Oh my goodness. But anyway, um, I have put a lot of money into the house. I don't even want to try to think about the total amount. That 25 grand was just like the first couple of months I owned the house. That was just to get it livable. And I've slowly been putting money into the house over time. Man, this son bitch is having a hell of a time trying to back up into this spot. I hate it when they angle the parking to where it's supposed to be pull in parking. You should never design a truck parking spot to where it's nose in unless it's a pull through spot. Because it is so dangerous to back out of a nose in spot in one of these trucks. So they got these damn spots, the spaces that I'm in are angled to where if you back into it, it's a damn blind side back. So they're obviously the way they've set these spots up is that you're supposed to pull into them nose first. And that is the dumbest shit ever. I wish they would stop designing nose in spots. But anyway, so I could sell my house in as is condition and I would turn a profit on it. But I don't want to do that because I would lose out on quite a bit of money. There's if I just put another probably $20,000 into renovations, I could make another 50,000 or more on the house. And I don't really want to lose out on that money. So, anyway, back to, living in the truck. Selling the house is, I could sell the house right now as is and make a substantial profit on the house. I could probably make $100,000 profit on the house right now. My car should be really close to paid off. I'm curious. Let me actually look that up right now. I don't even really pay attention to it. It's auto pay and everything. And let's see here. I think this is my car loan. I owe $7,400 on the car. Yep. I owe $7,400 on it. Its MSRP was like 36 or 37,000, and I bought it for $10,000 under MSRP because it was like 2 model years old when I bought it, but it was still brand new. It'd just been sitting on the lot for 2 years. Should be fairly easy to resell it. So sell my house, sell my car. Another thing that I want before I live full time in the truck is my own trailer. I don't have enough storage space in the tractor. If I don't want, like, I'm not going to do it because it's a pain in the ass. But if I took the camera I'm using is the laptop camera, it's built into it. But if I were to take you and spin you around and show you the tractor, I have the other side of this booth is stacked this high with storage bins. And my passenger seat is full of storage bins and refrigerators. The walking space in between the two seats has a big refrigerator there. There's not really much room to do anything in this truck. Here's this guy again. This time he's facing the other direction. Is he trying to back into it? I don't know what in this shit he's doing. Or she. I don't know which it is. But I sleep in the top bunk. And about the only 3 places that I can be in this truck is the top bunk, this booth seat, and the driver's seat. Everything else is full of shit. I have storage containers and refrigerators and stuff in it. Nobody else can be in here. So I would want more storage space. So if I get my own trailer, I'm going to have storage compartments installed on the belly, kind of like what flatbedders have. This dumbass is doing a sight side back into an angled spot that is designed to come in from the blind side. It's a she. There's got to be two spots open that she's backing into, because at that angle she would be going across two different spaces. What in the hell? Just a second here. Yeah, there's got to be two spots there that she's backing across. Because she's angled like this, and the parking spots are, going the other direction. So she's like, the parking spot's this way, and she's backing in at this angle right here into the spot. At that angle, halfway into the spot, her trailer would be across two spots. Well, she's about halfway backed into it now. And there's so many people can't back for shit. You see it all the time in these truck stops. It's just constant. But yeah, I need to sell my house, sell my car, and get my own trailer with storage compartments underneath it. You can fit a lot of stuff in those belly compartments. I'm not really concerned about how much they weigh because I almost always haul light loads. A heavy load for me is anything over 30,000 pounds. So I could put 5,000 pounds worth of stuff on the belly of a trailer and it's not going to bother me at all. Um, I don't know if I'd put that much stuff in there, but uh, yeah, I could put so much. I would have a lot of space if I had belly compartments on my own trailer. So, I mean, I would love to, like right now, I kind of, I don't like being tied to my house. I would love to just like not have to worry about going back to my house and just be able to just stay out here over the road and do whatever forever. Like, I just booked a load going to Billings, Montana. So, I've sat here in Portland for a week. The weather has been amazing. It's been raining almost the whole time, which is, Portland, but it's been like 50 degrees. So my APU hasn't had to run constantly, and it's been really nice and comfortable inside the truck. Anytime it gets like above 70 degrees outside, my APU has to run constantly to keep it cool off inside the truck. So I just booked a load that's picking up in Lacey, Washington tomorrow morning. I'll probably get up at real early. It's about a 2-hour drive from here to Lacey, so I'll probably get up real early and go ahead and drive up to Lacey, Washington, so that I arrive there right at 8 a.m. Because supposedly the place doesn't open up until 8 a.m. So I want to be there as soon as they open. So I'll probably get there a little before 8 a.m. and just be parked in their entryway waiting for them to open the gate. It's a Home Depot distribution center, so I'm hauling a Home Depot load. Let me double check on that. Make sure it's yeah, Home Depot. So I'm hauling a load for Home Depot from Lacey, Washington to Billings, Montana, and the load pays $6,615 line haul and $556.38 fuel surcharge. So the total, think it still has the total here on this. $7,171. It's paying $8.42 a mile on the full rate. That's not what I'm making per mile, but that's the full rate. So I get 65% of the line haul and 100% of the fuel surcharge. So that maths out to, damn it, did I close out the calculator? I did. We're going to have to run the numbers again. 6615 times 0.65 is $4,299.75. And then we're going to add 556.38 fuel surcharge. So that comes out to $4,856.13. So 4856.13 is what I'm going to get paid on the load. The last load that I hauled from Dallas to here paid like $9,200-$9,300, but like a large chunk of that, over $3,000 of that was fuel surcharge, which I get 100% of. So I got a huge percentage of that amount. I made over $7,100 on that load. So let's add in $7,100 to that. So that's going to put me right at $12,000 to the truck since I left the house, which at this point has been about 2 weeks. And I've sat at the truck stop for a week. So, and that's the way I like to roll. Like, I'll just like deliver a load and then chill at the truck stop for a week or a couple of days or whatever. It depends on the loads that are getting posted. You know, if there's like some really good loads on the board, I'll keep rolling. But if there's not any good loads on the board, then I'm just like, I'll just hang out and see if a really good load gets posted. If not, then I'll just grab, you know, the best load I can and then get rolling whenever. That's pretty much how I operate. And the idea of living full time in the truck and not, you know, having to worry about going to the house and stuff like that, that is extremely appealing to me, because then I could just do this year round. I could just hang out in the truck year round and just operate under my normal business model of just hang out at the truck stop until a really amazing load hits the board and then take off. And I would be a lot more profitable than I am right now, because right now, once I get home, I'll sit at home for like a month. So if I just had my normal time off that I take off whenever I'm out over the road at the truck stops, and I got rid of my time off that I was taking off when I was at home, that would about double. Like right now, I work approximately 3 months per year. And if I got rid of my home time and I just lived in the truck full time, I would probably work closer to 6 months per year. And instead of making $100,000 gross to the truck, I would probably make about $200,000 gross to the truck per year. That would be nice. You know, alternatively, I could just stop sitting at home, but I have a house, I'm going to use it. But anyway, this is a preloaded trailer on this Lacey, Washington. It picks up tomorrow. I think I can pick it up anytime I want tomorrow. The earliest I can pick it up is at 8 a.m. And I have a hard delivery appointment on the 13th. So today's the 10th, tomorrow's the 11th, and then the delivery appointment's at 2 p.m. on the 13th, and it's 900 miles. So what the plan is, I'm going to take off from here probably somewhere in the area of about 5 a.m., drive up to Lacey. I'll get to the Home Depot early. I am going to fuel up before I leave, so that'll eat up a few minutes, but I'll get there early. I'll get the load, and then I'm going to, I might end up hanging out, like taking my time getting the load, because I don't want to be driving through Seattle like right at 8 a.m., so I'm not going to like rush. So I'll probably try to make it stretch it out until at least 9 a.m. And then I'll take off from Lacey, drive through Seattle, and then just start heading out east toward Billings. And it doesn't really matter how far I drive in my first drive shift. I have enough time to do it in like 3 drive shifts or something like that. It's going to take at least 2 drive shifts, but I could probably do it in 3 drive shifts. I haven't crunched the numbers on it, but what I'll do is I'm going to try to put at least 300 miles in my first drive shift, and I'll probably put more than that on, but I'm going to try to put at least 300 miles on my first drive shift. That way, I'm within reach in my next drive shift. So that's the plan right now. Let me close out of a whole bunch of stuff. Let me see, is there anything important that I have open? No. All right. Let's go over to the browser. Why is there a black box? Oh, I remember what that was. That was just like some janky way that I wanted to show the search last time. We'll just turn that off. Alright, so this is basically the route. Right here's where I'm at in Troutdale. So I have to drive back into Portland, go around on the 205, drive up the 5 to Lacey, Washington, right here, which looks like it's a pretty easy place to get to. Google has some really stupid directions. Yeah, I'm not going to follow these exactly because Google has some really dumb directions here. But this is the Home Depot distribution center. What Google's wanting me to do, because Google doesn't have the addresses like correct on here, is Google thinks it's on the right side of the road, and Google doesn't think there's a turn there or something. Google's having me go down and turn around on the roundabout and come back up and do all kinds of weird crap. But I can turn right into this place. But it looks like they have enough space for like 3 trucks to be lined up waiting for them to open. So, and then when I leave from there, not following this exact route, but yeah, hop onto the 5, go on up to Seattle, and leave Seattle on the 90. Ooh, am I going to take this Highway 18? You know what, I am. Because I remember last time I delivered in Seattle to Auburn, I came in on this 18 to get to the delivery location. And this 18 was a really good road. Yeah, it's a really nice divided highway. So yeah, I will follow this route instead of going all the way up into Seattle and then hitting the 90. I'm going to bypass and go cut across south of Seattle on this 18 over to the 90. Snoqualmie. And the TA, where the hell is the TA at? The TA should be like really close to right here. There it is. This TA right here can get really, really busy. Last time I was there, I was parked in one of these spots right here. These are reserved. And I did not get run out of the reserve spot. And there was a fire that shut down the road. And oh my goodness, there were trucks just parked everywhere. You couldn't drive around the truck stop. There were just trucks parked absolutely everywhere. They couldn't go anywhere. The road was closed. The on ramps, off ramps were packed. The truck stop was packed. They tried to run people out of reserve spots, but as soon as they'd run one person out of a reserve spot, somebody else that did not have a reservation would park in the reserve spot. So they were just letting the people that had reservations park like in the middle of the road because they couldn't clear out reserve spots for them. And I'd had a reservation from the day prior, and what I'd planned on doing was moving over to one of the free spots during the daytime. And when I woke up and went to move over to one of the free spots, I noticed that the truck stop was just absolutely packed. And I was like, what in the hell is going on? And I went into the building to go ahead and pay for another day of paid parking. And that's when I found out about the fire. And that's when I found out that they'd already sold out for that upcoming day. I went in there at like 11 a.m. to pay for the next day, which starts at 4 p.m. The next day's paid parking, and they were already sold out. And I was still in a reserve spot, and I was like, shit, they're going to run me out of that spot when my reservation's up at 4 p.m. So I just sat in my truck and hoped that they didn't run me out. And I kept my receipt from the previous day on the window, and they just glanced at that receipt and walked on by me. So, yeah, I got really lucky there. But yeah, that's a really busy truck stop right there because Seattle is very lacking in truck stops. There's a Love's in Tacoma, and oh my goodness, it's it's right at the entry to the port of Tacoma. Should be right here. Nope, that's not it. This is it right here. This Love's travel stop. This right here is a huge, insanely busy road that goes into the port of Tacoma. They have a huge sign right here that says "Welcome to the Port of Tacoma" or something like that. And this Love's truck stop has very little parking, like most Love's. Love's are basically gas stations with a couple of truck parking spots. I hate Love's. And most company drivers love Love's because they're almost all newer and they have really good rewards programs, which is what company drivers care about. As an owner operator, I save more money on fuel discounts than the reward programs make up for. It is stupid for an owner operator to do business with Love's or Pilot Flying J. Well, I don't know. I'm not aware of every single fuel discount program out there, but I have like 3 fuel discount cards. Every time I've looked into fuel discount programs, the cheapest fuel has always been at TA and Petro after fuel discounts. TA and Petro have some of the highest pump prices, but they have some of the biggest discount programs. So the prices after discounts, TAs and Petros typically have the best. So as an owner-operator, TA and Petro is my favorite truck stop. And they have the most amenities. Love's has fast food. They don't have real restaurants. They don't have real food. They have really tiny truck parking. They usually don't have many showers. And because of their reward program giving almost everyone unlimited showers, there's almost always a line to get into the showers. At TA and Petro, there's almost never a line to get into the shower. And the showers at TA and Petro in general are better than Love's. Nicer, cleaner. They still give 2 towels at TA and Petro. They used to do that at Love's. They stopped doing it. But yeah, this, oh my goodness. I was parked like right here last time I was at this Love's truck stop. I got so lucky. I was driving around this parking lot and somebody pulled out of this spot right as I was driving around. I was able to get the spot. There were people constantly circling looking for spots, and I just so happened to time it perfectly. There was a line down the road to get into the truck stop. It was such a pain in the ass to get into the truck stop. And there were people parked in this huge no parking area right here, which is the path to get around the scales. There were people parked down through here, so you had to drive across the scale to get into here, because the line to get to the fuel island, there were like trucks lined out all the way to the road, lined up to get into the fuel island. So you couldn't drive through the fuel island to get back here, and there were people parked all up and down through here, so you had to drive across the scale to get back here. It was such, oh my god, it was one of the worst truck stops I've ever been to. I don't ever want to go back to that Love's again, ever. That place was a nightmare. I ended up staying there for a couple of days, I think. But yeah, out in Billings, after I deliver the load, what I plan on doing is, damn, it's quite a ways to get to Billings. There it is. So I'm going to backtrack after I deliver the load from the Home Depot. I'll drive back down here. Is it this far down? I think I passed it. I don't think it's that far down. Yeah, right here. I'm going to go back to this TA truck stop, and I'll probably hang out there for another week. It's a really nice looking truck stop. It is tiny, a tiny, tiny little TA truck stop. But all the truck stops in Billings are fairly small, and I think it's because they just don't have the volume of trucks to justify having, like a 300 lot parking lot. It looks like every single spot, well, almost all the spots are pull-through spots. They do have spots along this that you back into. But it looks like there's probably going to be spots available all day, every day. These back here appear to be, they only appear to have like 6 reserve spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 reserve spots. Looks like these 2 are handicap. And this first 1 or 2 spots look like they're saved for the shop. For people that are going into the shop or something like that. I can see something sitting in the middle of these spots blocking them. Is there even a shop? Yeah, our TA truck service right here. Wow. I don't think they have you can't fit a truck in there. They don't have bays. So they have like a limited truck service. But it looks like there's lots of places for creative parking. Like if the truck stop got full, it looks like there's a ton of places. Like look at this huge dirt lot right here in front of TA truck service. People could park all up and down through here. You could probably fit like 10 or 15 trucks in this area. And then people could park all up and down through here. People are already parking off in the grass over in this area. But yeah, that's probably where I'm going to hang out after I deliver the load. Maybe even before I deliver the load, waiting on my appointment. That's probably where I'll stop and hang out at. And then after I deliver the load, I'll go back there and hang out. Probably take a week off. Because at this point, I made roughly $12,000 after I deliver that load. And all I really try to do is make about 15 grand while I'm out over the road. So whatever load that I book to get home on is going to put me over 15 grand or really close to it. So I'm pretty much set on the amount of money I want to make when I'm out over the road. I'm good. That very first load that I did paid so well. It just, man, it put me in a really good position. I've had this soda sitting out for so long, and I haven't opened it. I think I'm going to set it back in the refrigerator, grab another one. It's still cold, but we're going to grab a colder one. Oh my goodness. I think I'm going to do a McDonald's pickup order. There's a McDonald's right here next to me. And I have the McDonald's app on my phone. And if you can't tell by my weight how big I am, I like food. I eat a lot. And I think I'm going to order a pickup order on the McDonald's app. Go over there, pick it up, and then come back over here, eat that, and then try to get to sleep in the next 4 or 5 hours. So I'll probably eat that, and then I'll lay down and watch a movie or something and go to sleep and try to wake up around 3 o'clock in the morning. I want to try to wake up at around 3 a.m. Get everything in order. Fill up, top off on fuel, which that's something I need to check my fuel route. Let me just check and see. What fuel prices are like. And normally Troutdale fuel prices are insanely low compared to the rest of the country because they don't charge you fuel tax here at the pump. It's tax free. So that increases the amount that you're going to be paying later because you don't get credit for any IFTA that you're paying in. So you have to take that into consideration whenever you're looking at fuel. But the prices in the Portland area in Troutdale are usually like a lot lower, like 70, 80 cents a gallon lower or more than the other areas in the country. But that is not the case right now. Like right now, the truck stop I'm at is $4.69 a gallon. That's my price after discount. And that's a 66-cent per gallon discount, which is absolutely pathetic. Because that's the kind of discount that I was getting back when fuel was $3 a gallon. So my fuel price burden is not only because fuel prices are higher, my discount has pretty much remained exactly the same, or it's gotten lower. So, like, it's just the amount that I'm paying for fuel is just absurd. All right, so Seattle is just absolutely crazy on fuel prices. $5.18 a gallon is the cheapest place by a long shot. It's like 50 cents a gallon cheaper than the second cheapest place in the Seattle area. That $5.18 a gallon includes a 49-cent per gallon IFTA tax credit. So if I was paying fuel tax down here in Troutdale, that would be $4.69 plus 49 cents. Where's the calculator? $5.18 a gallon. So the price in Troutdale, Oregon is exactly the same as the TA up there in just east of Seattle. The price that I'm paying is exactly the same because I'm not paying any fuel tax in Troutdale, and that's one of the things that makes the price of fuel look so cheap in Troutdale. And I noticed they don't have sales tax. When I bought McDonald's a couple of days ago here, and some other things that I purchased here, there's zero sales tax on the receipt. All right. So maybe instead of topping off here, I might top off up there east of Seattle. Let's look see what the prices are along the route. Wow, it looks like Flying J has the cheaper prices in Billings. Wow, and only get a 25 cent per gallon discount at the Flying J's. Yeah, so fuel after the Seattle area is pretty much the same price all the way to Billings. So what I think I'll do is I'll top off fuel up there at that TA east of Seattle. I won't put any fuel in here. I'll top off fuel up there just east of Seattle, and that'll be enough fuel to get me all the way to Billings. And fuel prices in Billings are kind of stupid. Let me see here. So I'll have to decide based on my next load after Billings whether I'm going to top off in Billings or just get enough fuel to get me to the next place. But I'll have enough to get to Billings, and I'll have fuel left over. And Billings isn't like crazy on fuel prices. It's just not that great. So we figured out the fuel plan. And you know what I need to do? I need to change my alerts. So let's go back into load search, go to my save loads, go to my Troutdale alert that I have set up. Let's change the city to Billings, Montana. 150 mile search. Looking for anything over $3 a mile. Pickup date on the 13th or later. And let's rename it to Billings Alert. You know what? Let's increase the range to 250 miles. just because I don't think I'm going to get very many alerts. There's not a whole lot of stuff going on in Billings. So yeah. All right, I think I'm gonna wrap this up and go grab some McDonald's and hang out, watch a movie. What movie to watch? What movie to watch? I just watched Matrix Resurrections for like the fourth time. Not because it's a good movie. It's just like I just wanted something playing in the background while I was playing a video game. Matrix Resurrections is such a bad movie. Like the original Matrix was one of the best movies of all time. The second movie I thought was pretty good. A lot of people hated it. The third movie I thought was pretty good. A lot of people hated it. But like the movies kept getting worse and worse. And then the fourth movie, there was just this dramatic drop off. And the fourth movie was just like barely watchable. It was so cringy. Like it was such a bad movie. It's like such a bad movie that it should have been like straight to DVD. It should not have played in the theaters. I don't even know if it did play in the theaters, but it was a really bad movie. Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. Oh my goodness, that is one of my favorite movies. I might rewatch that movie. I've seen it probably a dozen times. Is there a new movie to watch? Almost like every movie that looks worth a damn. Like here's my recent movies that I've watched: Joker, Romeo and Juliet, Moon, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Seven, The Wizard of Oz, Around the World in 80 Days, The Dirty Dozen, Giant, Beetlejuice, Kick-Ass 2, Suicide Squad, Doctor Who, The Dark Knight. So that's HBO Max. That's my recent movies that I've watched. And pretty much every one of those movies is something that I rewatched. I've already seen all of them. Yeah, not a single one of those was new to me. I just like I need something to play in the background, and I just that popped up, and I was like, oh, that looks interesting, and we'll just throw it up there on the second screen and let it play in the background while I'm playing a video game. But let's see. Constantine. So on the just added movies on HBO Max, they have Constantine. Just watched Matrix Resurrections. I've already seen Constantine several times. Terminator 2, a really good movie that I've seen several times. A bunch of stupid looking crap. Like all of this just looks terrible. Um, yeah, Constantine's about the only movie in here that looks worth a damn, and I've already seen it. And Terminator 2, of course. Now, Jonah Hex is a movie that I have not seen, but it just looks so cheesy. Jonah Hex is a scarred drifter and bounty hunter of last resort, a tough and stoic gunslinger who can track down anyone and anything. Having survived death, Jonah's violent history is steeped in myth and legend. So, I don't know. It looks like some kind of sci-fi western, and it looks like just based on like the information, the description, and the pictures of it, it looks like it would be very similar to that Will Smith movie, The Wild West or whatever. Like that sci-fi western, like that cheesy, goofy comedy. And I don't like cheesy, goofy comedy, but that's the vibe I get from this Jonah Hex is that it's like Wild West, that stupid Will Smith movie. Um, that's the reason I've never watched it. But you know what? There's nothing else on here that looks worth a damn that I haven't already seen. So after I get my McDonald's and get back, I'll watch Jonah Hex. Put it back over here on this screen so I don't forget about it. But yeah, The whole thing about living full time in the truck, if I could snap my fingers right now and make it happen, I would do it. Aside from the things that I have to do, sell my house, sell my car, get my own trailer, there are some inconvenience items that I'm concerned with about living full time in the truck. One of them is washing clothes, doing laundry. And, I know that there's some dumbass sitting there thinking, there's a laundromat in every fucking truck stop, idiot. I don't know if you've ever washed your clothes at a truck stop, but I have. Um, one of like, the, the washers and dryers and truck stops are some of the nastiest things in the world. And my clothes come out dirtier after I've washed them in a truck stop. So I don't really want to. Like, that's one of the big reasons I like having my own house. I have a really nice washer and dryer that gets my clothes really clean, and it doesn't damage them. Um, the last time I did laundry at a truck stop was when I was in training at USA Truck, and for a month I was on a dedicated route based out of Dallas, Texas, and we had weekends off. So every weekend I would be sitting at the Love's truck stop in what the shit was the name of that town south of Texas that we were in? Huntsford, Huntington? I can't remember. But every weekend I was at that truck stop doing laundry. I wash my bedding material and all my clothes. And not only did it damage my clothes, like it ripped up a bunch of my clothes, the washers and dryers did, but they had this nasty funk to them. It was like an odd odor. It was like foot and BO, but it wasn't really a really strong odor. It was just like this weak odor of like foot and BO. So I would have to find some other way of washing my clothes out over the road. I would have to find washing machines that were actually worth a damn, that were nice, that I could use. And don't want to be tied down to a specific location. I mean, what's the point of being a nomad, living full time in the truck, if I have to go to one particular place to do my laundry every month? I don't want to have to do that. So I need to find a place that has several locations across the country that I don't feel like I'm, tied down to going to one particular place. And then the other thing is food. I need a place where I can go and spend 2 or 3 days a month cooking food. I can have my own pots and pans. If I have all my own storage under the belly of the trailer, then I can have my own pots and pans, and I can go to the store. I can go, either do grocery delivery, or I can get an Uber and go grocery shopping. Or if they have truck parking, I can go there. Whatever. I could find a way to buy the food, and I can have my own pans. But I need like a stove. I don't need. I don't think I need an oven. I just basically need a stove. And I'm not willing to cook outside. I know there's somebody sitting there thinking, oh, you could buy a propane stove or something and just cook, you know, alongside your truck. I like. I'm not going to cook outside. It's not happening. And some of the things that I cook for over a day. Like my beans, I generally cook my beans on a really low heat for at least 14 hours, generally 24 hours or more. And having them sitting alongside the truck for a day or more is not, no, it's not cool. And I don't want to get out there dealing with the wind and the dust and the bugs and all that shit. So those are a couple of items on my list that I need to figure out before I go full time in the truck. Getting Amazon deliveries, I have some ideas that I can figure that shit out. I can get deliveries to Amazon box drops places. Um, I can also get a UPS store set up. That would tie me down to a location for picking up deliveries, but I mean, I do have options on Amazon deliveries and various other deliveries. I've had Instacart deliver me groceries at a truck stop. Instacart is really awesome about delivering. One of my favorite grocery deliveries. It's pricey, but Instacart is my favorite grocery delivery. So they're really awesome. But yeah, that's it. Those are my main concerns. The three items that I need to do, and then the two inconveniences. So sell my house, sell my car, buy a trailer, and then the inconveniences of laundry and cooking food because I love eating out of the truck stops. I love eating out of McDonald's or wherever, whatever options happen to be around me at the time. I love that stuff, but there's a lot of times where I don't have any options or any good options. And I like to have food in the truck for those times, which is why I have a freezer full of meal prep stuff. I have a month's worth of frozen food in the truck. So I try to always have a month's worth of food in the truck. So if I had to eat out of the truck the entire month I was out away from home, I could do that. But I don't. I've never had to do that. Every time I go home, I have at least half, or around half of my frozen food left. I've never eaten all my frozen food while I was out over the road. But anyway, we'll wrap this up, and I hope that my internet in Billings, Montana is awesome because my internet here in Troutdale, Oregon at the TA truck stop is amazing. Like, really good internet. Really good internet. So hopefully Billings, Montana isn't that bad. That's one of the things that will motivate me to not hang out at the truck stop. If I get to a truck stop and I have really shitty internet to where I can't watch TV, I can't play video games, then I will be highly motivated to get a load and move on somewhere else. But whenever I get somewhere and it's just beautiful outside, like it is here in Portland, and I have amazing internet, and I've got lots of food options, and you know just like it's this is a great truck stop here in Troutdale. This is one of my favorite places to hang out at. So whenever I get a place like this, I'm not like highly motivated to find a load and get moving. I'm sitting here enjoying myself. But anyway, I'm gonna go get me some McDonald's and then hang out. It's only 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I want to wake up somewhere around 3, 4 a.m. So I need to stay up until like 7 or 8 p.m. So I need to stay awake for like 5 more hours. So yeah, I'll go grab something to eat, um, watch a movie, screw around, and maybe put a few things away or something. Just double check that the truck is fairly ready to go in the morning. I don't want to be blindsided by like 30 minutes of crap that I need to do to get moving. So I'll give it a good once over. And I need to raise the landing gear and attach the cables to the trailer because I did disconnect from the trailer to drive across the street to try to buy a capacitor from the carrier dealer. And then I also had to bobtail later on that same day to go pick up that Amazon delivery at the Amazon locker across the street. So there's a couple of times I disconnected from the trailer to go bobtail around and try to get a capacitor. But I have not fully reattached. I'm hooked up to the trailer, but the cables aren't attached and the landing gear is still down. So Still need to do that stuff. And I need to double check my fuel before I go to bed to make sure I have enough fuel to make it up to that TA truck stop in Seattle. I should have more than enough because I put in a lot of fuel the other day whenever I got over here to Portland, because I was down at about an eighth of a tank whenever I got here. Whenever I drove up from Aurora back up to here, I was down to about an eighth of a tank, because whenever I first got to Portland, I was at about a quarter of a tank. And then I drove all around and stayed for a few days, and got back up here, I was down to about an eighth. And I went ahead and was going to fill up fuel, but the pumps were going so slow, and I started having to use the bathroom. You know, old man bladder. It just kind of like, bam, sometimes it just hits me. And the pumps were going so damn slow that I just shut them off and went inside and used the bathroom. But I put in like 150 gallons or something. It was close to topping off. So I should have plenty of fuel. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to get all that done. So thanks for watching. I hope you're having a great week. And I hope you're, dealing with all the craziness that's going on of the high fuel prices, the reduced freight, and everything. I hope it's not affecting you too much. And unfortunately, I think it's just going to continue to get worse and worse and worse. I don't know when it's going to, reach the pinnacle. I don't know how bad it's going to get or how long it's going to take to get there. But I do expect it to continue to get worse and worse. I do expect the freight prices to continue to go down because of reduced freight volume. And I expect fuel prices to continue to rise because of, supply chain disruptions and inflation, and a lot of a lot of countries moving away from the petrodollar the system. A lot of countries are starting to buy fuel in currencies other than the dollar, and that is one of the things that makes the dollar incredibly valuable and gives it a lot of stability, is that almost every country buys oil in dollars. It's the petrodollar system. And because we've used sanctions as a weapon so many times, a lot of countries have gotten sick and tired of it, and they started bypassing the dollar. And it's, I don't know. That's a whole other video, whole other discussion. But yeah, I see fuel prices continuing to rise. If the economy really craps out, then fuel prices will drop because the demand for fuel will drop. But as it stands right now, we're in a slow economic decline. We're not having that big drop. So we'll see what ends up happening with it. But I'm expecting things to not be that great, and I do expect a lot of trucking companies to go out of business within the next year or two. So yeah, I don't know how bad it's going to get, or how long it's going to last, or when it's going to happen. But I mean, it doesn't take a genius to kind of look at what's going on and see where it's going to lead. But I don't have a crystal ball to know the details. But anyway, good luck to you. I hope you ride out the storm. And thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye.